Some years ago, I remember reading an interesting book that said that the basic doctrines of the Bible are so wonderful, and yet nobody can hold them together in balance. And they said every single church tends to major in some one or two doctrines to the expense of the others, And I remember the author laid out 4 examples, and he says there are father churches, there are son churches, there are spirit churches, and there are Bible churches. And here's what he said. He says, father churches are mainline churches that emphasize God the Creator, and therefore they emphasize the fact that we're all the same. We're all created by God. We're all in the image of God. It puts all the emphasis on what we have in common. All the emphasis on social justice, on care for creation, on the unity of all human beings. Then you have son churches, and they would be, I remember what the author was saying, fundamentalist churches. And fundamentalist churches are always talking about being born again. All the emphasis is on conversion. All the emphasis is on getting people saved. Then you have spirit churches. Now, spirit churches, according to the author, if I remember, could be both charismatic churches and high liturgical churches, but all the emphasis is on experience, joy, and corporate worship. Kind of a mystical approach. And then you have Bible churches. Now, Bible churches are not into community and justice like the father churches. They're not as much into evangelism and conversion and outreach as the son churches. They're not nearly as much into corporate worship and experience as the spirit churches. Their emphasis is on instruction, on doctrine, on discipleship, and on accountability. And usually they say we're balanced because we teach all the doctrines, but weirdly enough, in some ways they're not imbalanced. They're not balanced because even though they're teaching all the doctrines, they mainly put their emphasis on teaching and learning the doctrines rather than doing them. And I remember reading that as probably a 25-year-old pastor, thinking, not my church, I'm going to do all of them. And I came to realize as time went on how hard it is to do that, very hard. And then I came to realize something. It's in the gospel that all these things come together, and without a great understanding of the gospel, as I've been talking about it here, these various doctrines can, in a sense, get out of alignment with the others.